Hello everyone. Today we'll learn about skeletal system. Bones join together to make your skeleton, the structure that your entire body is built around a part of this system. Your skeletal system functions as a structural lattice that the rest of your body is built around and depends on for support. The human skeletal system consists of all the bones, cartilage, tendons, and ligament in the body. A baby's body has about 300 bones at the time of birth, which eventually fuse and grow together to form 206 bone or 206 bones that adults have. By the time you are about 25, this process will be complete, and after this happens, there can be no more growth. There are also some difference in the male and female skeleton. The male skeleton is usually longer and has a high bone mass, while in the case of female skeleton, on the other hand, it has a broader pelvis to accommodate for the pregnancy and childbirth. Basically, there are two classifications of the human skeletal. First is called axial and second is called appendicular skeleton. So we'll discuss one by one. So first is the axial skeleton. The adult axial skeleton consists of 80 bones. It's made up of the bones that form the vertical axis of the body, such as bones of the head, neck, chest, and spine. So first is the skull bone. So further we can divided the skull bones in the cranial bones as well as facial bones. So a total 22 bones are included in the skull bone, in which 8 cranial bone and 14 facial bones. So cranial bones basically help to protect the brain, while the facial bones are found on the front of the skull and make up the face. You can see in this image different distribution of the cranial bones, in which two parietal, two temporal, one frontal, one occipital, one ethmoid, one sphenoid, and these are the facial bone distribution, in which the two maxillary bone, two zygomatic, one mandible, two nasal, two palatine, two inferior nasal concha, two lacrimal, one vomer bone. Next is the auditory ossicles. The auditory ossicles are six small bones found within the inner ear canal in the skull. There are three auditory ossicles on each side of the head known as the malleus, incus, and stapes, as you can see in this image. The structure of the malleus, incus, and stapes. They work together to transmit sound waves from the surrounding environment to the structures of the inner ear. Next is the hyoid. You can see in this image hyoid bone. It is a U-shaped bone found at the base of the jaw in the neck region. It serves as a point of attachment for the muscles and ligament in the neck. Next is the vertebral column. Vertebral columns basically included the 26 bones, in which the 24 are all vertebra, followed by the sacrum and coccyx, that is also known as the tailbone. The 24 vertebra can be further divided into the cervical vertebra. These 7 bones are found in the head and neck, 12 thoracic vertebra that are found in the upper back, and 5 lumbar vertebra found in the lower back. The sacrum and coccyx are both made up of the several fused vertebra. They help to support and weight of the body while sitting. They also serve as the attachment points for the various ligaments in the body. As you can see in this image, the various distribution of the vertebra from cervical to coccyx. Next is the thoracic cage. The thoracic cage is made up of sternum and 12 pair of the ribs. The sternum is also known as the breastbone. These bones form a protective cage around the organs of the upper torso, including the heart and lungs. Some of the ribs attach directly to the sternum, while others are linked to the sternum via cartilage. Some have no attachment point, and it is called the floating ribs. As you can see in this image. Next classification of the skeleton is the appendicular skeleton. So, total 126 bones are included in the appendicular skeleton. It consists of the bones that make up the arm, leg, as well as bones that attach them to the axial skeleton, including the pectoral girdles, upper extremities, pelvic girdle, and lower extremities. So first, we'll discuss about the pectoral girdles. The pectoral girdles is where the arm attached to the axial skeleton. It's made up of the clavicle and scapula. There are two of each of these, one for each arm. That is two clavicle and two scapula. Next is the upper arm or upper leg. Each arm contains 30 bones known as the humerus, radius, ulna, carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges. Humerus, it is the long bone of the upper arm. Radius, it is the one of the two long bones of the forearm found on the thumb side. Ulna, it is the second long bone of the forearm found on the pinky finger side. Carpals, it is a group of 8 bones that is found in the wrist bone, and it's also known as the wrist bone. Metacarpals, the metacarpals are 5 bones found in the middle area of the hand after the carpal bone. Phalanges, the phalanges are 14 bones that make up the fingers. Next is the pelvic girdle. The pelvic girdle is commonly known as the hip, is where the legs attach to the axial skeleton. It's made up of two hip bones, one for each leg. Each hip bones consists of the three parts known as the ilium, ischium, and pubic. Ilium. The ilium is the top portion of the each hip bone. Ischium. The ischium is the curved bone that makes up the base of each hip bone. And third one is the pubis. The pubis is located in the front part of the hip bone. Next is the lower leg. Each leg is composed of 30 bones in the lower leg, including femur, tibia, fibula, patella, tarsal, metatarsal, and phalanges. Femur. The femur is the larger bone of the upper leg, and it's also known as the longest bone in the human body. Second is the tibia. The tibia is the main bone of the lower leg, and it forms the sign. Fibula. The fibula is the second bone in the lower leg found in the outer leg. Patella. The patella is also known as the kneecap or sesamoid bone. Tarsal. The tarsals are the 7 bones that make up the ankle joint. Metatarsal. The metatarsals are the 5 bones that make up the middle area of the foot. And phalanges. The phalanges are 14 bones that comprises the toes. The conditions which can affect the skeletal system, including the fractures. A fracture can also be referred to as a broken bone. Fractures typically occurs due to an injury or trauma, such as car accident or road traffic accident or fall from height. There are many different types of the fractures, but they are generally categorized by the nature and location of the break. And second region is the metabolic bone disease. The metabolic bone disease refers to the group of conditions that affect bone strength or integrity. They can be due to the things such as deficiency in the vitamin D, loss of bone mass, and use of certain medication such as the steroids or chemotherapy. Next is the arthritis. It is an inflammation of the joint. This can cause pain and limited range of the movement. So this can also affect the movements of the body and movements of the joint. Several things can cause the arthritis, including the breakdown of the cartilage that's found in the joints, autoimmune condition, or infection. And next is the cancer. Cancer can develop in the tissue of the bone or in the cells produced by the bone. Cancer that forms in the primary bone tissue is actually quite rare trusted source. And cancer of the blood cells produced by the bones, such as the myeloma or lymphoma, are more common. Spinal curvature. It is when the spine does not curve in its usual shape. Typically, the spine follows gentle forward and backward curves. And basically, there are three main types of the spinal curvature, known as the uh, kyphosis, lordosis, and scoliosis. So kyphosis create a rounding in the upper back, while the lordosis cause the lower back to curve inward, while the scoliosis cause an S or C-shaped curve in the spine. Next, what is a bone? Because the bone is the basic structure which is included in the skeleton system. So bone is the living tissue that makes up the body's skeleton, or we can also define as the it is a osseous tissue, is a hard, dense connective tissue that forms the skeleton and support the structure of the body. In the area of the skeleton where bones move, cartilage, a semi-rigid form of the connective tissue, provides the flexibility and a smooth surface for the movement. So cartilage is a strong, flexible connective tissue that protects your joint and bone. It acts as a shock absorber throughout your body. So first, we'll learn about bone. The skeletal system is the body system composed of the bones and cartilage and forms the following critical functions for the human body, such as support the body, it can facilitate the movement, it can protect the internal organs, it can produce blood cells and store and release the minerals and fat oils. So we'll discuss one by one. So first, the support. Bone provide a rigid framework as well as support for other part of your body. For example, the longer bones of the leg offer the support to your upper body while you are standing up. Without our bones, we would have no defined shape. Second is the movement. Bones play an important role in movement of your body, transmitting the force of the muscles contraction. Your muscles attach to your bones via tendons. When your muscles contract, your bones act as a lever while your joint form a pivot joint. It's a kind of joint. The interaction of a bone and muscles contributes to the wide range of the movement your body is capable of making. Here two questions. First, what is a tendon? And second, what is the difference between tendon and ligament? So a tendon is a fibrous connective tissue that attaches muscles to the bone. It may also attach muscles to a structure such as the eyeball. A tendon serves to move the bone or a structure, while a ligament is a fibrous connective tissue that attaches bone to bone and usually serve to hold the structures together and keep them stable. Why it is important? Because ligament and tendons both are the fibrous connective tissue, but the functions is different. In this diagram, you can see the different classification, different location of the uh, ligament and tendons. Next is the it protect internal organs. So bone also play an important role to protect the vital organs into our body, like lungs, uh, heart, as well as brain, as you can see in this image. Your bones also protect many of your internal organs. A good example of this include the way your rib cage surround organs such as your heart and lungs, or how the bones of your skull surround your brain. So these are the very common and very critical example of the protective function. Next is the producing your blood cell. So bones also play an important role to produce the blood cells. Certain type of bones make your platelets, RBC, that is called red blood cell, and white blood cell, that is WBC. These cells are made inside of your bones. This process is called hematopoiesis, and it occurs in the part of your bone marrow called the red bone marrow. So what is bone marrow? It is a soft fatty tissue inside the bones in your body. Bone marrow contains cells that produce blood cells and platelets, and it is the responsible for making the billions of new blood cells every day. Platelets help your blood clot, Red blood cells deliver oxygen to your organs, and white blood cells help fight off the infection. Next function is the storage. So important minerals such as calcium and phosphorus are stored within the bone. When your body needs more of these resources, they can be released back into your bloodstream for their use. In addition to red marrow, bones also contain another type of the bone marrow is called yellow bone marrow. This is where some fat tissue is stored. The fat in this tissue can be broken down and used for the energy if required. Thank you.